Hello, stylist. Gina here with Here Comes the Bride Pro. And in this month's business video, I'm going to give you some tips to get your website to the top of Google. So this is called SEO, and it's going to increase your online presence so that you can book more brides. And this is something that's kind of a little bit of a mystery to people. So I'm going to explain it so that it's no longer a mystery. It's going to simplify it. That's kind of what I do best, is take a somewhat complicated and confusing and intimidating subject and simplify it and clarify it. So I'm going to do that for you in this video, and let's get you to the top of Google. So what is SEO? I'm sure you've all heard that saying, SEO. It basically stands for search engine optimization. And in very simple terms, it is just basically how high you rank organically on Google. So most searches for services start on Google. So obviously it's very advantageous for you to have your business show up as high as possible organically on those Google rankings. When I say organically, what I mean by that is that you don't have to pay for it. So that's where Google says, hey, this is an authority on this subject. I'm going to put them high up on Google. And also I wanted to just point out that I've also, like most of my videos, have created a downloadable PDF so you can follow along. I'm going to be mentioning some resources, so I'll have links to those resources in that PDF, so that there's a link right below the video. And then if you're watching this, excuse me, on the Pro site, the downloadable is also at the bottom of the page. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is just kind of how Google works. So I went ahead and put in bridal hair accessories. You can see for us, because we do sell a product, the first thing that's going to come up is the shopping ads. So you don't need to worry about that. The next thing is going to be your regular Google ads. So Google AdWords is a really great way to just locally advertise. I'm going to actually be doing a video on that in the future. And then the next thing is probably the most important thing for you to know, and that is these local listings. So if you learn one thing, if you don't do anything else after watching this video, make sure you put your business on Google My Business. And I'm going to have a link below where you can do that. So make sure you're showing up in those local listings, but you need to create that listing in Google in order to show up. So you can see again here, we come up pretty high. We're number one out of all of these listings for bridal hair accessories. And then let's go back there. There we go. Okay. So now once you get past your Google My Business, your local listings, this is where you come to your organic listings. So that's what SEO, or search engine optimization, is going to help you do. These are the listings that Google ranks as the most relevant to your search. So you come here, and not to toot my own horn, but you can see here above David's Bridal, Etsy, Brides, Wedding Wire, is Here Comes the Bride. We rank number one on bridal hair accessories. And honestly, the reason that we do, if you'll notice here, is that this is actually a blog post. So this is a post that we did on, how to choose your bridal hair accessories. So Google absolutely loves information. And so they're going to rank things higher that have more information in them, more content. So that's why we were able to rank so high with this blog post. So I know blogging takes time, it takes effort, but it really is great to get you high ranking on Google. And then you can come down here and see that we're also still on number one. So we've got two listings organically on number one for bridal hair accessories. So let's go ahead and go to bridal hair stylist near me. So again, the first thing that's going to come up is your ads, and then your local listings. And you can see we're also on the local listings here. And then this is where you come to your organic listings. And I will be honest with you, most likely in all of your areas, Yelp, Wedding Wire, and The Knot are going to be the top listings. So it is a really great idea to get your business on those sites. Yelp especially. So again, if you haven't created a Yelp account, you want to definitely do that. Try to capture those Yelp reviews. So, but it is possible to get you up on those rankings organically in your area as well. So let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty here. Okay, so step one, you may think I'm going to go into keywords and meta titles and this and that, some of the things you've heard, but no, step one is that basically you just make sure you have to make sure that you have a great website. You want to make sure that it's, it's attractive, that it's engaging, you have really great content. Google loves different types of content, so images and videos, and again, those blog posts. So I want to point out, Google is really smart. There really aren't any quote unquote tricks that are going to get you to the top if you don't have a really great website and a great business. So everything from how connected you are on social media, how many people are referring you, all of those things, again, they're not tricks. They're just building a great business. So they're going to serve you in your business overall, and they're also going to help your SEO. So the first thing is content. So content is basically what is on your website. So that's what I was saying, your verbiage, your text, your images, your videos, and I will talk about keywords in a few minutes. So those are things you obviously within your content want to have those keywords sprinkled around. But again, just really making sure that you have really great content and a very, a website that's easy to navigate and that is very engaging. So engagement is how long someone is on your website, and Google ranks that pretty high as far as SEO. If you have a high, what they call bounce rate, so that is people that just come to your site and immediately leave. That's not good. What you want is you want people to be going to different pages. You want people to be spending a lot of time on your website. So again, having those blog articles, having those videos, having a really great gallery with images, whatever you can have on your site that's engaging, that's entertaining, that's informative, is really going to help with your SEO. And then finally, I want to point out that as more people are, using their phones, Google is definitely taking into consideration that your site is mobile friendly. So if that's not something you've done, you should always be checking that your site is mobile friendly and really easily accessible on all devices. So step two, the next thing you want to do is you want to create inbound links. So an inbound link is basically other people that are mentioning your site, using your images, using your content, and linking back to your page. So again, this is something that's going to really help SEO. I'm going to give you kind of somewhere that you can go. In the next slide, I'm going to do a screen share and show you kind of an analysis of Here Comes the Bride, so you can see our inbound links. And you can see that we obviously do rank really high on Google. So inbound links are really important. So those are going to be things like, I mentioned really important to add your business to Google My Business. And I had the link before. I'm also going to put the link in the PDF download. So make sure you do that first thing. Add your business to Yelp. Make sure that you've got, photos on there. You've got the right accurate information. Wedding directories. People ask me all the time, is the knot worth it? Is Wedding Wire worth it? And I know they've gotten more and more expensive. I know they've gotten more and more oversaturated, but I do think that those are important sites for you to be on. They are somewhere that brides go. And, especially if you can get that link on your website on there, that's going to create those backlinks. And the more popular a site is that links to you, the better. So of course, at Here Comes the Bride, we have, full business page listings as part of our premium memberships, and they're a lot cheaper than Wedding Wire, the Knot. So that's something that's just one, advantage. Obviously, brides are finding you, but it's also helping with those backlinks and the SEO. And again, I'm going to have a link or links in the PDF download for a lot of different wedding directories. Some of them I think are even free. So anywhere you can get your website put up, you can create those backlinks, do it. Also, there's a lot of business directories, so they're not necessarily wedding related, but they're your LinkedIn. There's, a lot of different just basic business directories that you can list your business in. And again, I'm going to have that list in that PDF. And then finally, local directories. So again, they're going to be business directories, but they're going to be in your local area. So again, in that PDF, I'm going to show you how to kind of search on Google and find those local directories. And the reason I mention this too, especially with the local directories, a lot of them are free to at least have a basic listing, and you never know who's going to find you. And again, it creates those backlinks, those inbound links to help with that SEO. And then finally, I wanted to mention, creating joint ventures. So I know a lot of you will have like a recommended vendor page, and that's awesome. And you're helping that business by creating their backlink. So maybe on your preferred vendor, maybe you have Here Comes the Bride, maybe you have a dress shop, a favor place, a photographer, whatever it is. And that's awesome. But what I would do is make sure that you're kind of connecting with those other vendors and like, hey, I'll add you to my website if you add me to yours. So that's kind of what a joint venture is, and it really helps to create those inbound links. And again, you can see where all of these things not only are helping your SEO, but they're also helping your business. So it's going to be just a win-win and a cumulative effect in your business over the years. Okay, so here we are on moz.com, and this is where you're going to be able to analyze your inbound links. So you just click on this Try Moz Pro free. You sign up really quick. It is free, obviously. And then they'll send you an email. Once you kind of confirm and click through that email, you'll be brought here. You can see you get 10 queries, I think, for like a month. So we put in Here Comes the Bride, hit Analyze, and you get a lot of information here. But really the main things that you're looking at are, we're talking about links right now, so these inbound links. So you can see here we have 12.5 thousand inbound links, which is a large amount. Don't let that discourage you. We've obviously been in business for a long time. We've been doing this for a while. So this is something that's going to take a little time, but you don't need that many inbound links to start ranking higher on Google, especially when you consider we are, a national, even international company. We ship all over the world. So we're trying to rank higher on kind of more generic keywords like bridal hair accessories, where you're going to be focusing more on just your local area, most likely. So that's going to be a little bit easier to rank higher. So let's click in here. This is going to show you all of your links. And, obviously you can start the trial and do more, but I just want to kind of show you, a lot of these are super random. So they're just going to be people that have found our site, probably online, maybe used one of our photos and linked to our website. So that's something, again, the higher you can rank, then the more easily you're going to be found by other people that are going to use you, and it just kind of builds on itself. I also want to point out here Pinterest. There's a lot of Pinterest. Pinterest is a great way to build inbound links. And I know it seems like a lot of work, but what you want to do is really systematize your content. So when you get photos from a styled shoot or from brides, if you do a blog post, you want to create a checklist and just make sure that you're, of course, adding all of those things to your social media, your website, but also pinning them on Pinterest, because that's going to really help. And just kind of a side note for our premium members, when you do come on as a premium member, we actually um, pin all of your photos to Pinterest. Obviously, they're linking back to our site, but they're linking back to your page on our site. So that's just helping you get even more exposure. So let's look at a few of these. You can kind of go in and see. I'll go to one that's kind of a little more common. Let's see. Let's go to Style Me Pretty here. So you can click and see where that's linking. And this is the contributor network. I'm actually on their contributor network here, even though that's an old picture. So that's that link. Let's go on here. PR Web. So this is kind of interesting. You can actually, anytime you're kind of offering a new service or doing something that's kind of even somewhat newsworthy, you can actually create a free press release. This one was for our Bridal Beauty Academy, which is now our Here Comes the Bride Pro. So again, you can just kind of come through here and have a little fun, see how many links you have. And then there's one more thing on here that I want to show you, and that is your ranking keywords. So these are a number of keywords for which the site ranks within the top 50 positions on Google. So we rank on 728 keywords organically. So so this is a great way to kind of find out where you're already at, if you're even ranking anywhere and where. So if you're on page, or if you're in position number 10, then you want to kind of see if these things work and help you move up. So let's kind of just look at that really quick. So you can see here, it's going to show you the ranking keywords and then what position. So this isn't the page, this is actually the position. So we actually rank number 1, and I actually showed you that already when we searched for Google. So we rank on the first page for bridal hair accessories with our website, and more importantly with that blog post. So I'm going to go into blogs, and that's one of the huge advantages to doing blog posts, is it can really help your SEO. Google absolutely loves news more than anything. So you can see here, most of these are post. So that links to our blog posts. And then here's where it just links to a page. Post. Again, Google loves, here's a page. So you really want to try to stay within those top, at least 5, 6 rankings. That's going to keep you on page 1. So again, you can kind of come through here and see where you're at already. So you can know where to start and know where you want to end up, which is of course number 1. Okay, so step 3 is now where we're going to optimize your website. So when people think about SEO, again, and they're thinking about kind of those tips and tricks, this is usually where they focus, is optimizing those their website with maybe those keywords. And yes, this is important, but I wanted to do step 1 and 2 first, because those are things that are really going to benefit your business overall, and they do play a big part in SEO. But yes, it is also important that you optimize your website. So what does that mean? So the first thing is you want to determine your keywords. So your keywords, I kind of showed you that a little bit just in the last screen share that I did. So the keywords are those things that brides are searching for. And I can't really tell you exactly what keywords to pick. There are some places you can go and, Google keyword popularity finder or whatever, but basically you want it to be, just use your common sense, those things that brides are searching for. So it would be bridal hairstylist and makeup artist in Orlando, Florida, or bridal hair and makeup in Central Florida, whatever you think those keywords, those brides in your area are looking for. And those are the keywords that you're going to want to sprinkle throughout your entire website. So different places that you want to put those keywords. First of all is your URL. So obviously, if your website name is bridalhairandmakeuporlando.com, that's going to be great for SEO. But most people, I know, it's your business name, and that's okay. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that each page of your website, you create that URL, kind of the, I forget what it's called, the tail of the URL. So it would be, susiesbridalhair.com / let's say they have you have a services page. Instead of just calling that page services, it would be susiesbridalhair.com / bridal hair and makeup services. So you really want to try to use those keywords. And I'm going to show you this. I'm going to give you an example of this and do another screen share in just a minute so you can visually kind of see this. But just kind of be aware of that again in your URLs when you're creating those web pages. If you have someone that's doing your website for you, please make sure that they are aware of and familiar and really focused on SEO when they're creating your website for you. So the URL, and then I talked about your content. So everything on your website, especially those pages. So, whatever that URL is, whatever that title of that page is, which I'm going to go into title in a minute, but you obviously want to sprinkle those words throughout your website and in the text of your website. Now, you do want to be careful not to keyword spam and just like put a bunch of those keywords that don't make sense. You want to put them into sentences that make sense for those keywords. And then I mentioned the title. So every website page has a title. Again, I'm going to show you this in the next screen share that I do. So just making sure that that title goes hand in hand with that URL, and then also that content for that page. And then your description. This isn't as important as the URL, the content, and the title, but usually behind every website, when you're creating a web page, there's also a place for a description. The description is also if you ever share anything on social media, or when your page shows up on Google, that description is usually what shows up right under it. So again, you just want it to be something that makes sense for that page, but also includes those keywords. And then I want to mention, this is something I see over and over, and I'm pretty good at it, but I even notice myself sometimes that I forget. Those images, as those Google spiders or whatever are crawling your website, you want to make sure that your images are named appropriately. So you don't want to just have it be, img dot, 12345 dot JPEG or whatever. You want to rename all your images with your business name, with those keywords, with something that makes sense. Even better, something that's descriptive. So like say if you post an image of a bride, with a braided hairstyle, you could call that image, braided bridal hairstyle. And that's going to help you not only with your SEO, but also in Google searches. It's going to help those images come up. When you Google something and it shows you, you can go to the web pages or you can look at images. It's going to help that image come up there too. So it's just going to help all around. So make sure you're renaming your images. And then I mentioned, briefly when I showed you kind of the keywords and what we rank on. Blog posts, again, I know I mentioned, I know they can be time consuming, but if there is a secret weapon to SEO, it's absolutely blog posts. So think about doing that. And when you create those blog posts, definitely make sure that all of these rules that you're also applying to your blog posts. You want to make sure that you're using those keywords in your URL and throughout your blog post. And then finally, I want to mention that it's important to avoid duplicate information. So I see this most in the titles of websites. So when people are creating websites, they'll create a title and it'll be, Sue's Bridal Hair / hair for your wedding day. And then they'll use that same title for every single page. So you want to make sure that you're creating a different title for each page. And I mentioned before, I know I'm such a visual person, so I'm going to go through and show you examples of all of these in the next screen share. Okay, so here we are back at herecomes-the-bride.com, and I'm going to show you so you can visually kind of see what I'm talking about as far as optimizing your website. So interestingly, our front page doesn't show up that often in search results. So the main page besides that blog post that shows up is this shop by category page. So you can see here, obviously what we're trying to show up for on search results is bridal hair accessories and wedding hair accessories. So that's why you'll see here, we've got a lot of things good going for us with this page, and that's why it comes up so high organically on Google. So the first of all, here's what I was talking about, that URL tail, I forget what it's called, but here we have bridal wedding hair accessories. So again, that's really going to help you come up high on Google if you can make sure that the URL tail has those keywords. And then here in our menu, of course, we have bridal hair accessories. And throughout this whole page, you can see shop our collection of bridal hair pieces, bridal combs and clips. So another thing you'll notice that I did this on purpose is that I used bridal and wedding throughout this page because I want the site to show up. We've already seen that it showed up on bridal hair accessories, but let's go to wedding hair accessories as well. And you can see page 1. Here's that blog post again. And then if you go down here, here we are again on page 1 for not only bridal hair accessories, but wedding hair accessories. So again, I was very conscious of using both of those keywords on this page. So another thing I want to kind of show you, and this is a really cool tip, is that you can go, and I'm going to show you kind of the title and the description that I talked about. So if you come up here, you can see this is the title of our page. Bridal and wedding hair accessories, here comes the bride. Pretty simple. So if you go in here, you can do this on any web page. So the thing that's kind of cool is you can kind of maybe like shop the competition. Google your keywords that you want to use and then see who comes up. And if you right click and do view page source, it's going to come up here with all this gibberish that I know nothing about. But what you want to do is do Control F. It's going to bring up this little box and either put in title or description. They're going to be right next to each other. Hit enter. And then what I'm looking for is the title and description right here. So you can see right here, this is that title that I just showed you. And then here is my description. So handcrafted bridal hair accessories for bride on her wedding day. Choose from our collection of bridal hair combs, hairpins. So this is the description. So again, you can see that you don't want to just jam all your keywords in there. You want to organize them into sentences that make sense. But that's just kind of to show you behind the scenes that title and the description that I talked about. So now I want to show you one more thing. Let's go to combs and clips. And you can see where I named this page something different. So I named this obviously wedding combs and clips. Here comes the bride. And then same thing, I made sure that I put bridal combs and clips right up here. So if you go to, we'll see, hopefully this comes up on the first page. Down a little ways, but there you go, wedding combs and clips. So again, this is your description, this is your title, and then you've also got that URL. So that's kind of just, again, visually to kind of show you how you want to incorporate those keywords, and those are going to be the things that brides are going to be searching for, and that's going to help you show up on page 1. So really, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's, it seems super complicated, but those are the basics. If you can do those things, have a really great website. That's what it starts with. Something that's engaging, that's attractive, that has a lot of content and a lot of information in different forms, text, images, and videos. Those inbound links, super important. So again, those are things that are not only going to help your SEO, but let's say you do this stuff and you still, for whatever reason, because Google is kind of mysterious, their algorithm. Let's say you just do everything you can and for whatever reason you still can't get to the top. At least all of these things are really still helping your business and helping you gain visibility. And then optimizing your website using those keywords, and then finally doing those blog posts and making sure that those blogs are optimized for SEO as well. And I'm actually going to be doing a whole nother video on how to create blog posts that are focused on SEO, because again, I know they are time consuming. So if you're going to take the time to do them, make sure you're doing them right. And I'm going to do a video on that in the future. But that's pretty much it. I've put the link down below again for that downloadable PDF. So you can kind of go through step by step if this is something working on your SEO that you want to add to your kind of marketing plan. It's a great idea. It's something that, most of these things, once you do them once and then just continue to kind of add to your website, it's only going to get better. Once you kind of crawl up to the top on Google, it's a lot easier to stay there than to get there. So that's it. I hope that this information has been helpful, and thanks so much for joining me. Remember that I'm always here if you have any questions or need anything. Please feel free to reach out to me. This is a video that I've put on the site for everyone to see, but we have a lot of great content. I've got a lot of experience in the bridal beauty industry and a lot of business experience. So I love sharing that with you. I love sharing my expertise. So if you're interested in building your business as something that you want to focus on, check out our premium memberships and you'll have access to our entire library of business information. Thanks again.